Well, come on inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
And back to the rookies.
Hey, Bucky.
VOCHLOMBARDI. Hey, man. Yeah, man. Just, I really wanted to bless y'all with some rookie content for a while. I wanted to do it all in a row. Back to back. To back. Like the cover of Lethal Weapon, I want to talk about rookies just all month, and then we can divert into other stuff. What I didn't anticipate was all this extra cowboy news popping in and blessing us real quick. You feel me? You feel me? I didn't anticipate all this fresh, juicy cowboy news blessing us with so much content gold, but it is what it is. I can't complain. I wouldn't dare complain. I'd be silly if I complained about a little bit of Cowboys news on these beloved internet streets in the middle of May. We get the George Pickens news, which is incredible. I might run back and talk about that some more. It's George Pickens. What you want me to say? We got the schedule release, in which I'm not a big fan of, but y'all love it to pieces. And if it's anything that y'all love, I love it with you. You understand me? If y'all love it, I'm in love with it. But it's a couple more things I still wanted to get off on the plate rookie-wise. There's a couple more things I wanted to bring to the discussion rookie-wise. I know they had their little rookie practices, and I know that mandatory minicamp and all that is coming. And I know that the organized team activities and all that good old stuff is coming. And knowing Bleach Report, I'll probably have to report on some of that stuff. All that being said, camp is going to be fascinating. And I might make 10 camp videos before we even get to July. That's just how I feel about it. But camp, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, should be fascinating. Now, I could talk about camp as a whole. I could do that. I will do that. Time will tell. But I really wanted to talk about camp from a rookie perspective. One common theme that I've been floating around in various platforms, DallasCowboys.com, my own YouTube, VOCHLOMBARDI. Y'all can follow me at Bleach Report also at Voch Lombardi, VOCHLOMBARDI. One thing I've been floating around all my platforms, right? Yeah, I remember last year when Solari was in charge, or the year before when Philbin was in charge. There's all kind of little nonsense going on with them. Yeah, I mean, Joe Philbin didn't like Tyler Smith. Solari didn't like Terrence Steele. Just a bunch of don't likes. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. One thing Solari did in camp, which didn't make a whole bunch of sense to me, was, we may know that Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton gonna be starting. We may be fully aware that Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton are gonna be starting. But what we gonna do is treat them like rookies. And they're gonna run all over there and they're gonna practice with the third team guys, right? I remember that. Remember when we knew that Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe were gonna be the guys, but Mike Solari had them working out with the third team guys? The excuse behind that was, well, they're gonna get more reps. I don't agree.
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it.
Not this time.
No, not this time. It's total.
I don't agree. Because just as many reps as you got blocking Denzel Daxon and Tyrus Wheat, you could have gotten those reps blocking Micah Parsons and Mozzie Smith. You could have gotten those reps off on those guys. And then when you finally put them together with the ones and we get the ones-on-ones practice, you know what you end up with? You end up with Tyler Guyton having a fantastic practice versus Michael Parsons because you are sharpening steel with steel. You're sharpening steel with steel at that point. So if you sharpen steel with steel, why are you taking your rookies and you rubbing them up against copper and nickel? It don't make sense to me. I hear a little talking, a little something. It don't make sense to me. So I've been saying on my social media, man, man, yeah, man. I've been saying on social media, man, that I need to see Tyler Booker, Donovan Ezurike. So Savon Reel's hurt, guys, so we'll see. But Jaden Blue also. I need to see those guys with their respective first team rotations. Tyler Booker, Donovan Ezurike, Jaden Blue. I need to see those guys with their respective first team rotations, because if you got the Philadelphia Eagles week 1, you ain't got time to mess around with Tyler Guyton. I mean Tyler Booker. It's so many of them. With Tyler Booker. I don't want Tyler Booker running around. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tyler Booker here as the third team's starting left guard. He's the third team starting left guard. When we know damn well in real life he's going to be the first team starting right guard, we need that dude to be getting reps immediately, expeditiously. I don't care that he got versatility to play both sides. I don't care that he's young and he needs to earn his star. I don't care that you want to put him through the rigors of having to work himself up the camp ladder and all that, bro. Bump that. Ain't no such thing, bro. Just give him the spot that he's earned, that he deserves, and let's get that kid ready for the Philadelphia Eagles by letting him go with the ones. That's where I'm at with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I got some rookie camp battles for Tyler Booker, Donovan Ezurike, and Savon Reel. All right? Download the Bleach Report app. Tell a friend to download the app. Y'all got to download it already because y'all watching me right now. But if you got two phones, download it on both phones. And make sure you follow the Cowboy tab, NFL, and the NFL draft tab, because I'll be popping up on each and every last one of those tabs, okay? You can follow me on all my social medias, YouTube at Voch Lombardi, VOCHLOMBARDI. Let's start with our beloved Tyler Booker. Man, the more I think about it, the more I go back and watch old film on him. This was the right pick, man. This is just whooping ass. This is the right pick, man. What are we doing? You know, a lot of times we draft a character and we may not like him at first. And the more we watch him, we don't feel no better about him than we did when we first drafted him, like Tyler Guyton, Mozzie Smith. I remember rewatching a whole bunch of Tyler Guyton and Mozzie Smith trying to get myself to love him, and I couldn't. Boy, the more I just rewatch Tyler Booker and the more I rethink about him, boy, Tyler Booker, he's a hit. He is a hit. Hopefully he can put that on the field, but I think he'll be just fine with that. Tyler Booker. So when I'm talking about the battles, I'm talking about the battles of the guys that are in his own unit, his own group, position-wise, but I'm also talking about the guys on the other side of the football that he's going to have to be literally battling in camp, okay? Tyler Booker, let's start with the versus his own. He's going to be, it sounds crazy because it ain't going to be close, you know, when the come down comes to the come down, it ain't going to be close. But Tyler Booker, his immediate threat is Brock Hoffman. It's Brock Hoffman. But that lets you know that sometimes the Cowboys really do draft for need. That's one thing. But two, that lets you know how much of an how much of an emergency in real life that right guard really was. I know wide receiver was an emergency, but went to go deal with George Pickens. I could write George Pickens on this group. I know I could write Jonathan Mingo on this group because he's technically your 4th round pick. All right, Mingo. We might even come back and do a Jonathan Mingo, he's our 4th round pick rookie breakdown. We might do all that. Anyway, Tyler Booker, cornerback. I know wide receiver, cornerback, a couple other spots on the team. I know all those spots were needs. Running back, I know all those were needs. Right guard was a need too, and I know teams didn't look at right guard as a need when we first thought about it, when it first came out. I knew it. I thought it was, but I'm an O-line guy. Y'all gonna always call me biased as O-line guy. But dog, just me coming back talking about it right now, the biggest threat to Tyler Booker's position is Brock Hoffman right now. Shouts out to Brock Hoffman. He can know all the plays. We got a new coach, so I don't think that matters. He can know all the plays. He can have all the continuity in the world, but at the end of the day, if there's anything better than continuity, it's better dudes. Better dudes win every single time. Brock Hoffman, Cooper Beebe, and Terrence Steele have played snaps together. They have continuity. But ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything that's better than continuity, that's consistently better than continuity, is better dudes. I'd rather build continuity with a better dude than to have continuity with a worse dude. That's a bar. Man, I'd rather build continuity with a better dude, man. That's just how I feel. Real talk. That's just how I feel, bro. So Tyler Booker has to battle directly with Brock Hoffman. I don't think Brock Hoffman is the threat at all, but that's what it is. TJ Bass, he can play a little bit of right guard. Nathan Thomas can play some right guard. I don't know what position the Cowboys have him down as. And there's a couple other players that the Cowboys brought in via free agency. None of those children have a shot at beating Tyler Booker. That's just what the game is. They don't. Age not good enough. Age not good enough. Yeah, what it is. As far as the other side, this is why I really want to see Tyler Booker get the reps that he deserves in camp. I need to see him going against Oso Digizua and Mozzie Smith. I'll be in camp, so y'all can feel free to follow along with my draft coverage. My camp coverage. I'll be around. Follow me on Twitter. My YouTube, it's all Voch Lombardi, VOCHLOMBARDI. You can follow along. I know it's a lot of people that's going to go find wide receivers. They're going to go find George Pickens. They're going to go and get those highlights of all the wide receiver stuff. I know. Voch Lombardi is going to go find the damn offensive line and defensive line. Because it ain't nothing else better to do. I'm going to find the O-line and the D-line. Simple as that. And I'm going to break down those guys. I'm going to give us a little bit of an evaluation on those guys at camp because that's how I get down. Oso Digizua, Mozzie Smith, I need to see it. Solomon Thomas, I need to see it. If I report that Tyler Booker right here beating the hell out of Solomon Thomas, straight. I want him to at least have good fights with Mozzie Smith. If he at least has good fights with Mozzie Smith, we on our way. But Booker's strong. So he might be, I don't know. I don't want to put Osa on him already. Like I want Osa to line up against him. I don't want to come out and say, yo, Book, I need you to go out there whooping Osa. I don't know how I feel about that. But Solomon Thomas, Mozzie Smith, I think that's a good start for Booker. But if he go out there putting hands on Osa, I'm a scream running around in a circle. They'd have to kick me out of there. For real. As far as Donovan Ezurike goes, I think he has a much different path than Tyler Booker. Donovan is a rotational pass rusher right now. And by way of how his position is set up, Tyler Booker's a right guard. He's just always going to play right guard, no matter what it is. Donovan Ezurike is not going to be in on early rundowns. You understand what I'm saying? He's not going to be early rundown guy. He's going to come in and clear pass rush situations, right? But that's still starting to me. You know what I mean? He may not start the game. He may not be the first player out there, but he is starting as a rotational pass rusher. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I don't think he's going to be competing with the rundown guys. I think Marshawn Nealon is a rundown defensive end. I think Peyton Turner is a rundown defensive end. I think he's competing with Sam and Dante Fowler, right? I think Dante Fowler is clearly ahead of him, but I do think Donovan is going to be over Sam Williams. That's how I feel. And I think Sam's going to have to fight for his life with this one, but Donovan is going to have to be consistent. Donovan got to beat him to earn it. But I do think Donovan walks in above Sam, which is fine. Or he walks in ahead of Sam, which is fine. But the competition that Donovan Ezurike is going to have to go against, he is the second defensive end. Pardon me. Yes, he's the second defensive end on the first team, but he's the first defensive end on the second team. So he'll be a rotational guy versus Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton. But he'll get a lot of reps versus Hakeem Adeniji, Austin Richards, Armani Cornelius, right? He'll get a lot of, second team reps against those guys, right? Which is cool. But I want to see him versus Guyton and Steele. And it's going to tell me a lot about Guyton. It's going to be cool for Steele, but it's really going to tell me a lot about Guyton where those Donovan Ezurike fights happen. I do think Guyton should be fine in those exchanges. Donovan wins with a lot of burst and a lot of being long. If anything, I think Guyton has the good movement and the good length to be able to deal with that. But man, don't make me go out on Twitter watching practice and going, hey man, Donovan Ezurike beating the hell out of Tyler Guyton, and we need to talk about it. You understand what I'm saying? We need to be careful about that. We need to be careful. Savon Reel, and he's hurt, guys, so it's going to be interesting where he's at. I think he's behind Bland. He's behind Kyrie Elam, but I also think it's just safe to put him behind Kalen Carson because he's recovering hurt guy. You know what I mean? But with that, he could play against all the receivers because he can move up and down. I think there's a likelihood that he could be over Kalen Carson. He could be on par with what Kyrie Elam is. If his knee is as good to go as they say it's going to be, then I think he walks in above Kyrie Elam already. It just depends on where he's at with his conditioning and with his tempo and where his knee is at, right? But Savon Reel, he has to get smoked with everybody because that's just the nature of what wide receiver is. So CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Tolbert, Mingo, Jalen Brooks, Turpin, if he lines up out there, Flournoy, I think him having to go against everybody is fantastic for Savon Reel. That's the one thing where the Cowboys really got this right is they have a diverse group of wide receivers now. You got studs, you got some big body characters, you got some small, quick, fast running characters. You got a good move around slot guy, a not as good move around slot guy in Jalen Tolbert, but it is what it is. And you got some big body guys lined up on the outside, Mingo and Jalen Brooks. And of course, you got Pickens, but Pickens is an all-around stud. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be so fantastic for Reel. And honestly, if Reel has a slow start, I've anticipated that. I will anticipate. I'm fine. I look at Reel as a future pick. Keep it a buck with y'all. I look at Reel as a future pick. I don't look at him as a right now guy. Reel is a guy that I think, hey, look, you get what you can get out of him year one. You put bodies around him so you don't have to rely on him. But I think when you get to year two, Savon Reel, that's when you get the cornerback that could have gone in the first round. That's where I think you really get that value from him. We'll cross that bridge whenever we get there. I might come back and do another show and talk about your fourth round pick, Jonathan Mingo there. But we ain't got to do that right now. But until then, you be sure to download the Bleacher Report app. Make sure that your friends and your parents have it downloaded and you are followed up with the Cowboy tab, the NFL tab, and the NFL draft tab because I be popping up on each and every last one of those. Be sure to follow Voch Lombardi on all social media platforms, YouTube, and here on Bleacher Report, VOCHLOMBARDI. And I come right here. I sit right here in this chair, and I do this on Bleacher Report Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Central. All right. Y'all hold down for the Doski Woski and the Peasky Weesky. I love y'all to peace. Until next time, we'll come back with some brand new topics on Monday, and we'll talk about them. All right? Peace.